Imagine an AI model was developed that could hack into almost any system. Banks, air traffic control, electricity grids. Well, a company just came up with something kind of like that.
It is way more powerful in that it can understand far more complex code at a greater level of sophistication. It has an extremely patient mind. It can be put to tasks over and over again. Like that creates all sorts of new opportunities and challenges.
A big AI company, Anthropic, is keeping this model under wraps for now, so we can't use it yet. But neither can the hackers. Hi, I'm Paul Haberstrood. Welcome to The Cost of Living. Anthropic figures its new AI model, Mythos, is so dangerous, it's just giving a select group of companies a sneak peek so they can try to protect our data. But should a decision that affects all of us, and IT systems everywhere, really be left to a private company? Also today, if you want to eat ice cream for breakfast, there's a day for that. There's a National Gorilla Suit Day. Gorgonzola fans get a day for moldy cheese. Hardly a day goes by that isn't a day for something. But why? Up first, Jenny DeRosio is here. She's holding something in her hand, and it kind of looks like she wants me to try it. So Jenny, what do you got there?
I brought you in some peanut butter popcorn to try. Here you go.
All right, let's go.
What do you think?
Okay, well, it's caramelly.
Yeah, I got these guys at Winners.
I usually get socks at Winners.
Yeah, they got food too, and it can be pretty random. They have like sprouted tempeh chips, pasta, creamsicle protein powder, if you're into that.
Well, when I want to get jacked, that's my flavor of choice.
Mega Gains, yeah. You know, I've always wondered where all this food comes from at Winners, and I'm not the only one wondering.
No idea, but I do wonder. Some obscure place, and
Are there brands that you recognize that are here?
it really varies a lot. Sometimes I do see like brands that I recognize, and sometimes it's a shot in the dark. So it's like I'm gonna say. Like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's awful.
Ooh, that's not the tagline Winners is hoping for.
Yeah, you kind of want to avoid the word awful. But that's the thing. Like, Winners carries some brands that you don't recognize and some that you do.
Yeah, when I'm in there, I don't know a lot of the brands or even recognize some of the items. And so how does a store like Winners end up getting all this stuff?
That's part of the secret sauce for a store like Winners or HomeSense or Marshall's, discounters that are all owned by the company TJX. According to them, they get their stock from all over the place. They buy up out-of-season items. Sometimes products are from stores that have closed. Other times it's stuff that gets made for them. And they buy things that just aren't selling somewhere else.
So they're sourcing this stuff from all over the place because they know we bring it in, we can move it.
Yeah. I wanted to better understand how it all works, so I spoke with Chris Dole from Gourmet Trading Co. He distributes gourmet food brands to all kinds of retailers. Their base of operations is in Mississauga, and it's this huge warehouse.
Yeah, this is where, if you have to hunker down for 2 weeks and not leave someplace, you want to be in our warehouse because we have a lot of water and a lot of food you can eat.
So if you're a prepper, this is like your spot.
Well, it's Chris's job to get these fancy products onto store shelves in Canada. Ideally, he wants to sell them first to big grocers or an independent store, so like a specialty butcher shop or cheese shop.
The fancy stores.
The ones that'll pay him the big dollars. But that doesn't always work out. So then he turns to a store like Winners or HomeSense.
Okay, but these stores definitely sound like they're his second choice.
Yes, these chains will buy food products that for whatever reason aren't selling somewhere else.
Sometimes a brand has 20 flavors and they want to go down to 16. And so these 4 flavors, they're going to stop manufacturing, stop jarring, stop putting in a box. But you have inventory where the best before date is still 18 months from now, which is plenty of time. And if they're also slower moving, they may not be the most popular. Usually they're discontinued for a reason, but they may still have an excellent home at a place like Winners.
And why is this such an excellent home?
For Chris, Winners is going to take these products off his hands that aren't moving and sell them. But they're going to have to sell it at a discount, which means he gets squeezed a little bit on the prices.
They're looking to buy they're looking to buy volume and at a discount, and just so they can offer a discount, they can offer a reason to be in there and buy it from them. So that's what they're demanding. And so the discussions ebb and flow, and until we settle on what makes sense for both sides.
And in the end, Chris gets something rather than food going bad or not selling at all.
Okay, that's his business. But what about the brands? How do they feel about seeing their stuff at a discount retailer instead of like where they usually are at like an artisanal food shop?
Kira Vesey had to wrestle with that. She's a gourmet honey producer. She runs Canoe Cove Honey in Mount Stewart, Prince Edward Island. And she takes a lot of pride in the fact that her honey reflects where she's from.
Wildflower honey on PEI is going to be different than wildflower honey anywhere else because it's basically just the mixture of nectar from a variety of different flowers wherever the bees have foraged.
You can hear how much she cares about her honey and where it comes from, right? Like she is someone making a premium product, putting some love into it. She probably doesn't want the perception of her honey devalued in any way.
Yeah, and until recently, she only sold through specialty stores and the farmer's market on the island. But a Winners buyer discovered her honey on the shelf.
And they saw our honey at one of the local shops that we're in and were drawn to it, I think, just visually, just from the label, like what it looks like. And they reached out and they were like, hey, would you be interested in having a conversation to see if there's some sort of partnership here?
And was she interested?
She was. I mean, she was concerned about what being at a discount retailer might mean for her brand, but the deal was hard to turn down. I mean, it was 15 times bigger than anything she'd done before, and it had reach across Canada.
And Winners actually went to her directly, so this wasn't something like an overstock situation. They said, we want you to make honey for us, and we're going to sell it.
Yeah, so this is another way that stuff finds its way to Winners. The store's buyers actually go looking for products that fit their customer base.
And then that stuff gets added to the random European stuff that they find and everything else.
It's all a bit of a melting pot. But to get into that pot, Kira had to lower her prices.
I can still keep the lights on. I can still run some profit off of these orders, and they're able to get it at a price that makes sense for how they have to price it on shelf.
Well, how much did she get squeezed?
Well, online, her honey sells for $15, but at Winners, it's selling for $12.
Okay, so she's losing a bit on price and presumably margin, but probably making it up on volume.
Yeah, getting into hundreds of stores was worth it to her.
Well, of course, right? Like Winners is a pretty big operation.
It is, and that means it gets to decide how to sell her products. And their merchandising style is kind of random. Christine Cuvelier runs Culinary Concierge. She helps food companies market their products. And she went to some Winners recently looking at their food displays.
All of the nuts were not together. All of the honeys were not together. All of the chocolates weren't together. All of the chips weren't even all together. They were everywhere on these shelves. So really, it's a hunt and seek, and it's by chance you may find something, and maybe you don't, and that's okay.
It's like that woman said, life is like a box of chocolates, and so is shopping at this store.
And sometimes you get a stinker, and sometimes it's awesome. And all that's not an accident. That's part of their strategy. You have to go hunt around to find the deal. And you can't shop online because they don't have an online presence. You have to go into the store and wander around and take a look at their food aisle.
So they're there as a sort of I'm here to get something. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to pick this up too. It's not that you would just go there to pick up your snacks.
She's talking about every retailer's best friend, the impulse buy.
Yeah, that's what Winners is counting on. Christine says you probably wouldn't go to a TJX store just to get food, but if you're there to have a look around, you might pick something up on impulse and try it.
And if you like it,
then they hope you'll come back and keep looking around. And even if they don't have that thing you like, you'll stay hunting and maybe pick up something else while you're in the store. Shopping there can be kind of ad hoc. There's definitely a randomness to it that may not be an accident. I've seen former employees of TJX stores talk online about how they were told to mix up the displays intentionally so that if someone finds something, they feel like they've lucked out and are more likely to buy it in the moment.
That's great when you're a shopper, though, right? You feel like, aha, I've won.
I beat the system. I'm getting the deal. That's how someone found Kira's honey. They even emailed her about it.
And the subject line is your honey, ... And I'm like, oh no. Because I'm running the show, right? Like this is like instant concern.
So she's stressed out, but she opens the email.
And it's just like, I'm sorry to say ... It's the best honey I've had in a really long time. And I was like, you got me. You got me.
So the ending of this honey story, it was kind of sweet.
You might say that her product generated some buzz. Eh?
Bee puns for days, DeRosio. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Paul.
So if you feel like classing the joint up, you can channel your inner bard this Thursday. It's National Talk Like Shakespeare Day. To buy or not to buy this latte, that is the question. Or maybe you want a day to celebrate jelly beans or hug a plumber. You can do all of that in April alone. The calendar is full of official and unofficial national days. But why so many?
When Greta Mascaroni started her job at the Markham Stouffville Hospital, office space was at a premium.
So they put me in this, essentially it was a closet.
Problem was, staff kept barging in, thinking it was the laundry room.
So I thought, how can I differentiate my door? Because all the doors look the same. Everything was kind of the same. So I thought, I'm going to put a whiteboard on there.
Greta wrote the date on the whiteboard and what national day it was, like National Coffee Day or National Fried Chicken Day. She says it's been a fun way to get to know her colleagues, and sometimes it gives her an excuse to not cook dinner.
I hardly ever order pizza out or anything, but it was just like I had pizza on the brain all day. So I go home, I drive home, I pick up a pizza.
And that's the point. National Pizza Day exists to sell more pizza. Same with National Donut Day.
I mean, everybody sells out of donuts early on National Donut Day. It's their biggest day of the year.
Marlo Anderson lives in Mandan, North Dakota. He's the founder of the National Day Calendar, an online database of more than 3,000 public, religious, and commercial holidays. Marlo says every year they get more than 30,000 applications for new days.
We have a committee that goes through all of those. It has to be a unanimous approval. So it's a tough litmus test.
If you pass, congratulations! You have to pay to be included in the National Day Calendar. But it's just a one-time fee. And from now on, Marlo and his team will promote your day to thousands of media outlets.
National Pie Day, that is the day.
Did you know that today is National Pasta Day? Putting the fry in Fry Day today. It's National French Fry Day, along with burgers, French fries.
Marlo says anyone can apply to create a new national day. But it's usually brands. That's why there's National Oreo Cookie Day, National Slurpee Day, even National Chia Seed Day.
Chances are somebody from the chia seed industry championed that day.
Nicole Rourke is a professor of marketing at St. Clair College in Windsor, Ontario.
If I have anything to do with chia seeds, if I have chia pudding, if I have chia protein bar or whatever, and I have, just a small coffee shop, it gives me a reason to promote it.
For brands and businesses, that's the goal, to create a buzz and, hopefully, rope in new customers.
If it was National Margarita Day and you and I were like, hey, let's go get a $2.99 margarita, that is going to spread. You're going to tell your friends, you're going to connect.
And sometimes you're going to have to give in.
If your kid finds out it's ice cream day, I think you're kind of contractually obligated to buy them ice cream.
Paula Simons is a senator from Alberta. If you want a day officially recognized by Parliament, you need a senator to sponsor it. And Paula Simons has been asked, but she's never said yes.
It's a leftover reaction from my time as a journalist where I hated as a columnist for the Edmonton Journal, when somebody would come to me and say, oh, you have to write a column because it's National Something Day, Week, Month. I don't like to be the day Grinch or the day Scrooge, but I do think sometimes that the currency of this is to attract public attention. And if there are so many, you can't pay attention to each of them.
But the National Day calendar is still accepting applications for new national days, and there is one missing.
I'm Canadian, so if I pitched National Toque Day, would you approve it?
So what is toque? I've never heard of this.
For the Cost of Living, I'm Danielle Nerman.
This is The Cost of Living. Listen to us on CBC Radio 1 or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Paul Haberstrood. Imagine an AI company develops a program that can hack into any system. The electricity grid, your bank account. Now, in a Hollywood techno thriller, the only thing standing between us and global chaos would be a nerdy, bespectacled Ryan Gosling. He'd still be smoking hog, of course. Now, what if this wasn't a movie? The AI company Anthropic is warning its latest model, Mythos, can find vulnerabilities in almost any IT system and write programs on its own to exploit them. Anthropic isn't releasing it yet. It's giving a sneak preview to some companies and governments. It's letting them use the program, patch up their systems, and hopefully keep them safe from hackers. So, is Mythos really that much of a worry, or is the danger here being a bit overblown? Jackson Kahn is a senior fellow at the Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy, where he's a director of its AI Competitiveness Project. Jackson, hello.
Hey, Paul. Great to be here with you on the show.
So, Jackson, if we look at Mythos, what makes this one different than other AI models we've seen?
It is way more powerful in that it can understand far more complex code at a greater level of sophistication. Like, we already know that in the world, we have top software engineers, right? We have hackers who can occasionally break into systems because they're really, really smart. They find vulnerabilities. So if you're now saying that you have a system that is as good as many of those top engineers, but can work 24/7 and that can understand things sometimes in a different way, because it has an extremely patient mind, it can be put to tasks over and over again, like that creates all sorts of new opportunities and challenges.
Can you give us some examples? Like, what could hackers do? Are we talking about, like, crack into the global financial system, crack it, that kind of thing? Like, what kind of things are you hearing about?
Yeah, potentially. So again, most of the internet runs on servers, right? And those servers are then based in, let's say, data centers. There's a lot of hubbub around where are these things stored, who owns the data. But the fact is, that's how the internet runs, right? We're all connected through these our data stored in data centers. If people can break into those, then maybe they can access the data there, which might include your health data, financial data. And lots of those data centers, lots of those operations, they are run by the same major tech providers we often use for everything, right? It might be Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and the operating systems. In some case, as consumers or at our businesses, we're often used to using Windows or Mac. But lots of the servers in the world are actually run on a different operating system. It's often Linux or different types of operating systems, right? And so my understanding is Claude Mythos has detected some vulnerabilities that in some cases have existed in these servers that have existed for years or even decades, unbeknownst or unfound by any other security researchers. That's pretty concerning, right? And so Claude has identified that these exist and are now working with top teams of security folks around the world to try and solve those issues as fast as possible.
So what about someone who's just thinking, what does this mean for me? Like, what does this mean for, like, my bank account? Is a hacker now that much closer to, hacking into my RBC checking account?
I don't think the average person should be concerned at the moment. Number one is the financial institutions themselves have actually been coming together. This happened in the US in the past week. So did it in Canada. All the big banks came together and were convened by the financial sector regulators. the AI minister, I believe, also came out and said, listen, as of today, he had actually just met with some of the top folks at Anthropic. He said, listen, there's nothing to worry about today, right? Because again, this model is in the hands of a very close set of people and companies. They're working to use it defensively. And again, we live in a financial system that's also highly regulated. So if someone goes and quote unquote steals a lot of the money you've had on paper, you are insured, you are protected. So again, yeah, I don't want to sound the alarm here, but it's more that we have to think really thoughtfully about this kind of model. Now it's in closed set of hands, but models are catching up to what is at the frontier. And so over time, let's say in 6 to 12 months from now, if this type of model, the genie's kind of out of the bottle, is it in more hands? What does that mean for us? Maybe some other systems might be less secure, right? People are often using things that are not necessarily held by banks, but they might be held by smaller financial providers. People are using lots of cryptocurrency, trading platforms, betting platforms. Like, you want to make sure that where you store your data, where you store your personal information, that's safe, because you're actually more vulnerable, not necessarily to always cyber attacks, but identity fraud. Like, that's actually, it's often by impersonating you over the phone. That's often actually where people really get stuck. And if that capability is there, that's easier to find. That's where you might get in trouble. Yeah.
Okay, so Anthropic has made this model. It seems very powerful. People around the world are worried about it. They're looking at it. They're trying to fix the vulnerabilities in the systems. But also Anthropic has released this model and says, hey, look at how great and powerful our thing is that we have made. This is fantastic, and we're pretty fantastic. Is part of the chatter around Mythos is a bit of that hype?
I don't think it's hype. Like, I have to give some kudos to the company, and that I think they are trying to do the right thing. They're trying to develop really powerful models, and this one they were like, wow, this one is a little bit too strong to be released to the public right now, so we're keeping it in close hands. They also just released another model update, Opus 4.7, which again they're releasing broadly, and that still represents a capability improvement, but it's more of an incremental one where people can adapt. Right now, the challenge is that AI model development is accelerating faster because they have AIs building on top of AIs. It's building it faster than our defenses and our institutions have been able to react. And so if I was to be in the policymaker's shoes right now, I still think some design around AI safety specifically is important. There is, I mentioned the Canadian AI Safety Institute, the US version of that, as well as the UK. I would say that they've been more at the forefront of trying to partner with these companies to understand what's coming down the pipeline to help prepare our societies. I think the Canadian our AI Safety Institute should try to get up to that level and be partnering abroad. And I also think that again, like, if we've been on the I'll call it, like, if we've been on the backseat in terms of cybersecurity and data sovereignty and protection before, this should be cause for us to really try and update those fundamentals, so that we have more secure systems, and that's what would also ultimately help me sleep better at night. And that is not only a private company's responsibility; like, that is across the public sector, that is across civil society to also work for that, and it's also up to Canadian consumers to try and again use their market decision power to. The everyday person should value safety and security and privacy. And if they vote with that with their money, that will cause companies and governments to change.
We're only a couple of years into the sort of grand AI experiment right now, and we're talking about Anthropic coming out with Mythos, which, let's say it's as dangerous as they say it is. Let's say it's not quite as dangerous. But what we know is these models keep coming. How worried should we be that just the pace of development and evolution of these models, that if Mythos isn't the thing that's going to crash the global financial system, well, that thing is kind of on the way and maybe soon?
I don't have a crystal ball. I will say that currently the models continue to develop faster and faster, and some of the timelines, there was a timeline discussions of people all have their own predictions. Is it 2027? Is it 2028? I won't put a finger on it. I'll let people smarter than me do that. But I will say that if we do not prepare for very powerful models that could kind of break our current systems, whether that's through, again, direct cyber attacks, or it could be basically through mass disinformation or very, very, very compelling deep fakes. Let's say they can effectively replicate someone's biometrics, like their face through a photo manipulation or their voice. I mean, it's very, very possible to do that right now. If you have a face or voice authentication, it may not be as secure as you expect. And so I wouldn't be surprised if some things have to go back to maybe even a bit more of a hardware requirement. Sometimes people talk about it's not just enough to have, if I bring this down to an individual level for a second, Paul, it may not be enough to have your email password and your phone authentication, but maybe you actually have to have a hardware key which you put into your laptop or your phone, and that helps authenticate and show it, yes, it is actually you in person, because it's easier to steal someone's password. It's easier to do a SIM card swap on their phone and get those security codes sent to you. So I hope that brings it down to a personal level, but I think these are the kind of things that I think about that people should do in their normal lives to be more thoughtful. But again, we don't know for sure what's going to come. We should just try to keep encouraging our institutions, our leaders to act as responsibly as they can.
Okay, so Jackson, we're talking about AI as this huge cybersecurity threat, something we haven't really seen on the hacker side of things before. We talk about AI taking all of our jobs and that sort of thing. When do we get to the good part of AI?
Oh no! Listen, I am not a doomsday sayer on this stuff. I wanted to respond to Claude Mythos and say, listen, yeah, I mean the risks are significant, but also so are the opportunities. I mean, again, they are using this model to try and repair security issues. That is a good thing. Some of the other applications of AI, I mean, right now we're seeing vast amounts of work being done on healthcare, reducing the amount of people who might die in hospitals, better routing traffic to make people's everyday lives easier. We're also seeing AI improve productivity across a number of different sectors, right? Which again, that helps our economy. That can help also people do less administrative work, less tedious work, spend more time doing what they want to do. I am mostly hopeful, but also clear-eyed about there's going to be a lot of transitions and challenges, right? But I'm very excited in healthcare. I'm very excited in transportation. I'm also excited about possibilities in education and natural resources. Like there are a lot of different areas where I think AI can make our lives better and hopefully spend more time, funny enough, hopefully being human and less time working and being worried all the time.
Well, we're going to cling on to that hopefulness. Jackson, thank you.
No worries, Paul. Happy to be hopeful.
Jackson Kahn is the director of the AI Competitiveness Project at the Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy. That's all for the show. The Cost of Living is based in Calgary. The show is produced by Danielle Nerman, Jenny DeRosio, and Jennifer Keene, with help from Jeff Kynock, who may or may not be rooting for Mythos. We're not quite sure yet. He's a suspicious one. And if you, though, are not and have a minute to throw us a rating if you're listening to this, a review, we'd appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I'm Paul Haberstrood. Thanks for listening.